Hi guys, thanks for joining me today for Keen on Learning. Today I'm going to be talking to you about using technology to enrich learning. First, I wanted to talk a little bit about what enrichment is, what it looks like. You can adapt existing lesson plans to make them more deep and complex for deeper thinkers. You can provide additional experiences when students complete tasks or when they've shown mastery over content, or you can advance the content beyond grade level to meet students where they are. Really, enrichment is all about making learning experiences more meaningful to students who are advanced, because in reality, a student who's advanced or gifted is not just advanced or gifted 11 to 11:45 on Tuesdays. They're advanced or gifted all day, every day. You want to make sure that you provide them with thinking opportunities that allow them to go deeper. This will motivate them, this will engage them, and this will provide students with the opportunities to exercise their brains. Because really, when you think about it, a brain is a muscle just like anything else that needs to be exercised, right? If you go to the gym and you do a workout and you lift weights and you do the same workout every day with the same amount of weights, then you're not really building your muscle, right? And the brain kind of works the same way. If you don't use it, you don't stretch it, you don't bend it, you don't flex it, then you're not going to develop it in the way that you need to. So these students who are already demonstrating mastery or who are advanced in the classroom are not having those opportunities to learn, and we really want to provide them with those. When creating enrichment opportunities in the classroom, it really helps to find somebody to collaborate with and help build these learning avenues. Collaboration is not just sharing resources, it's working together to try to find a solution to the problem. If you meet in PLCs, this is a great time to work on things like enrichment opportunities. Or if you have a gifted teacher in your building, I bet that they would love to collaborate with you and help you out. So let's talk about curriculum compacting before we actually talk about enrichment, because the reality of the situation is that probably for some of these students, you're going to have to compact the curriculum and understand that they're going to be okay if they don't sit through your classroom all day, every day, and learn about whatever it is that you're teaching, because they already know it. Studies have found that elementary teachers can eliminate 24 to 70% of high ability students' curriculum by compacting without any negative effects on their test performance or scores. So some students can have up to 70% of their information compacted or just not even have to learn about it, and they're still fine because they already know 70% of the content. And that's a hard thing to grasp. So a really good place to start is pre-testing. If you start with just a few objectives in your classroom that you feel like maybe there's a lot of students who already know the information about, and then kind of go from there. You can grow it, but it's good to just get started. So select a learning objective in your area that you feel like you've noticed a lot of students come in already demonstrating mastery over. Then you want to develop a pretest. For some districts, you guys already have formative assessments and summative assessments that you use. So that summative assessment at the end, the EOC, or whatever you call it, you can use for a pretest as well. There are online options that you can use to make this really easy. Quizzes is free. It's a free quiz developer that automatically will grade it for you, so you can have that data right away and know which students are already advanced. Google Forms, of course, integrates into all of our Google platforms really well. A lot of the stuff that we'll be looking at today uses Google because many schools have gone Google. They're Google schools, and I am at a Google school also. So I'm going to be working to try to offer ideas on how to use the tools that we have and that we're familiar with. Quizlet and Kahoot are also free online services. Now, Quizlet does have a pay option as well, but there are free options on there. And you can use it to develop a pretest, give it to your students, and some of them are even fun, like a Kahoot. Kids love Kahoots, right? You can give them that Kahoot and have them play it, and then automatically you are given data that allows you to know which students are already demonstrating mastery over that content. And once you've decided who has demonstrated that mastery, you then can take it and create some extra extensions for them. A really good number to think about as mastery is 80%. That's the accepted number. If a student scores 80% or higher on a pretest, generally we would say that that student can demonstrate mastery. So there are going to be some students that are still going to need the traditional form of teaching. You're just going to go through the grade level standards with them. There are going to be some students who qualify for compacting, but you don't feel like they've really mastered the objectives. So what you can do there is you can compact the skills and or the content to allow them to learn it more quickly. Then you've got some students who already demonstrate that they know the objectives completely. For those students, you really can just move them on. I know it seems crazy, but you really can. A really good way to create extensions and enrichment for your school is to align it with your district curriculum and just make something more advanced or something more deep in thinking for these students. That way you're still teaching them the grade level or the content that you're supposed to be teaching them, but just in a way that is more meaningful to them and respects who they are as a learner. In my district, we use Reading and iReady for ELA, and so I've helped develop some different extensions for that particular type of topic. And all of these are done through Google Slides, or what a story is done through Google Docs. But it allows a student to get on to, let's see, I'm going to pick one, to get on to it and start learning. And you want it to be, we'll do art for everyone, you want it to be something that they can be self-sufficient with. So I decided to use Google Slides to do this with my students, or with our students. And I decided that in order for them to be able to independently work, you need to have a project checklist. Those are just objectives, clear objectives, so they know step by step what they're supposed to do. So every time that you do this, I think it's important to have a project checklist for them to see and for them to go through. In this case, there's a unit into Reading that is all about art. So this unit is called Art for Everyone. And what we're having them do is they're researching their favorite artists, writing a brief biography about them, and then creating a piece of art in that chosen artist's style. So the checklist is they analyze several works of art, they decide on an artist to research, they research that artist and take notes, they create a biography about the artist, and then they create a piece of art that is in the artist's style. So there is information that I incorporated from one of our local museums, Crystal Bridges, but it just talks about, it walks them through step by step, like, how do we analyze art? How do we really look at it? So this really lays out how you analyze art. And over here, we still have the objective. So the student sees on the slides the objective every time so that they know what they're doing, right? So they can watch this, they can learn how to analyze art, and then they actually analyze a few pieces of art. And they tell me what they see, what they think, what they wonder, for a couple of what should be pretty familiar probably pieces of art, right? They go through, they look at it, they see, they think, they wonder. And this also provides them with information on various types of art. I tried to make it where if you clicked on it, it would get bigger. And it just allows them to really think about what they like as art and art too, so that they can decide who they want to do this biography project on. And then they think about the readings from the Module 6 text, which is what the art module is, and what they have in common with the works that they just looked at. There's some works in there as well. So then they think about an artist that they want to study. And I tried to make it where every step of the way, if a student is stuck, they have a link or something that they can follow so that they don't have to necessarily interrupt the teacher while they're in the middle of teaching. And that's important for you. You want to think about how to make this as easy as possible. So I provided them with a list of different artists that they could click on and find out more about and explore. So that if they really don't know who they like or what artists they like, then that should help them figure that out. Then I provided them with some different types of structures to help them plan their idea, right? Just to think about it. What medium did they use? What's information about their lives? It's just a note taker. How has their work affected the lives of others? What inspires them to create? Then they write their biography. And then they get to create a piece of art. And so this is something that lays it out so well. Each one of these does this. It lays it out so well that students are able to just click on it. Here, we'll do this one too, and follow the project. And they don't have to ask you a whole lot of questions. They might have to ask you some, but if you put students together, like if you have more than one student working on this, I really think that they'll be able to guide each other through so that you can work on teaching your grade level standards, which is your job, while they are respected as learners and they are able to learn in a more deep way that allows them to really think. And so this one just walks through another unit, which is on, that looks at endangered species and different parts of the ocean and life. And it eventually asks them to create a poster or an advertisement that talks about an endangered species. And it just walks them through it step by step. You can see everything's thought of. So you really just have to think about in this, what your goals are, what you're wanting students to learn, and making sure that you're meeting that and just following through with step-by-step instructions. Another thing that we looked at was with math, it just works a little bit differently. Math, you can go somewhat deeper in math, but it becomes repetitive pretty quickly. So math is so beautiful because it vertically aligns so well. You know, you have a standard from 6th grade that vertically aligns so well with the standard from 7th grade. And so with students who are advanced in their math, you can take the standards, and every standard has a tutorial that you can link to. I mean, whether it's through Khan Academy, which was one that I chose a lot, or if it's through, I did Learn Zillion, there's CK12. All of those have online like tutorial components. So whenever you take, say, numbers and operations base 10 in 5th grade, numbers and operations base 10, this is where we want students to be when they master their knowledge. So you can lay those standards out vertically so that the introduction standards are maybe 3rd or early 4th grade. Applying their knowledge is maybe 4th grade. Mastering their knowledge would be the 5th grade where we want them to be. Exceeding their knowledge will be beyond grade level. And so you can link it, all of those numbers and operations base 10s standards vertically to the next grade level standards, and allow students to actually learn 6th grade content that would be what they are ready to learn, or 7th grade content, which would be what they are ready to learn. This just really respects their learning and respects who they are. And then in addition, we provided students with a base 10 enrichment project options, so that if you're wanting to not let them go too far beyond grade level, or if you feel uncomfortable, like maybe you can't help them, then they have the opportunity to do things like digital breakouts, or the cost of the Super Bowl ads and scientific notation. And so it just allows them to explore math in a deeper way. And then, of course, at the end, for students who just finish early, there's a few base 10 thinking games. So you can see here how you can take grade level standards, performance level descriptors, things like that, and link them to tutorials and allow students to go beyond grade level if they demonstrate that they're ready for that. So I've linked on this presentation some different standards that you could maybe look at to help you think about how this would look for you. Of course, your district might have standards that they've adopted that look different, and so that's what you would want to go with. Another option would be to create enrichment choice boards, also using Google for this. You can consider offering a choice board for each major unit, like ancient Rome. Here's a bunch of different things students can do for ancient Rome. Or you could stick with a more broad option that you could use for 1 to 2 semesters that just covers a wide variety of information. So that's just up to you. It just depends. If you have some good people to collaborate with, I think creating one for each major unit is good. Like, each of you guys can create one and then share them. I'm all about sharing, obviously. So I just want to look at one of the choice boards that I helped create for teachers. This is for social studies for the second 9 weeks, where they start to look at ancient Egypt and different things like that. There are a few things here on creating civilizations, just because that applies still to what they're doing. But then digital breakouts, Breakout EDU has some awesome information. Now, it is a paid subscription that you do, but they have digital breakouts that you can just link in on almost any topic, and I really like Breakout EDU. You've got a Nearpod on pyramids, comparing different pyramid structures. During the same time, somebody that we don't learn a lot about is the Bling King. He was considered to probably be the richest man ever in the world. Students might want to know about that. There were, at the same time, in Peru, a society that we don't learn a whole lot about in the 6th grade, right? And so maybe like contemporary cultures that you're not teaching about can be incorporated in, so that if students already demonstrate that they know a lot, or if they finish their work early and you're learning about Egypt, they can learn about other societies and other cultures that existed during that time. You also could consider having like online interactive games and different things like that, or STEM activities. And then there is also the option of allowing students to play games, like geography games that deal with your subjects and your topics. So in this way, this is a totally free way to use Google to create extensions for the classroom. You just find little topics that maybe it's even stuff you want to teach so bad, but you don't have time, right? We all have that stuff that happens. We really find these cool projects and we really want to use them, but we don't have time to do it. But really, don't some students in your classroom have time? And this is a really good way to not have them waste their time, but to actually still be learning content and to be learning it in a much deeper and more complex way. So I will link all of this onto my website, and you can go in and you can look at the other examples as well. There's science examples, and there's even ELA examples. Before we started linking everything to Into Reading, I made a choice board for the ELA teachers, so you can still see what that looks like too. I will provide on my website different resources that you might use to help make this happen. There's going to be ideas on how you can find tutorials. There's going to be ideas on lessons that you can just find for free, or information you can just find for free. And I tried to put, if it was paid, I tried to add that on here so that you could see which things are paid and which things are free. There are a ton of free resources out there. You shouldn't have to pay anything. You just take a little bit of time and kind of divide your time amongst your PLC, and you should be able to do this pretty easily. So keys to success are that you need to make sure you align these with standards, and you need to make sure that everything is really easy to use for students. And it takes a while to really think through all the steps. You know, you'll start with something. Here's what I did anyways. You start with something and you think about it and you make it, and then you think, oh, I should have done this, or oh, I should have done that. So you go back and you add and you change. And it's just a process. You have to learn how it works. You have to learn what it looks like to make things easy for students to use. Step by step, there's got to be research links already there for them. Otherwise, they're going to go down a million rabbit holes. They're never going to get anything done. Or they might end up, because I teach middle school, they might end up researching something that you don't feel comfortable with them researching. So if you provide them with research links and different things like that, then they automatically are taken to sites that you have deemed as safe for them to look at. And you know that they're going to get the content that they need from those sites as well. And make sure that you collaborate. Don't just do it all on your own. I think sometimes in education, we put too much on our plates. Not sometimes, all the time in education, we put too much on our plates. So this is an opportunity for you to spread the love and allow other people to work with you on something. Now, I work in a larger district where we have PLCs within our building where multiple people are teaching social studies. Multiple people are teaching ELA. Maybe you're in a smaller district. So there are ways through your educational cooperatives where you can go in. We have educational cooperatives in Arkansas that help to connect schools. You can go in and maybe find other people in other schools that would work with this on you, and you could just share it with them. Hey, I'm going to work on ancient Egypt. Why don't you work on Mesopotamia? And then we can swap it. And then you have it done. You've done twice the work at half the cost of your time, okay? So really, collaborate. Don't do it all on your own, but do make sure that everything's easy to use and that it aligns to standards. All right, thank you for joining me today. I will go over next time information on how you might be able to use independent study with this as well. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email and ask. All right.